feel like I'm gonna need chapstick again. What's new? Hi friends, hope you all are doing well. Today I wanted to do a little TBR revisit video. I remember making a video listing the books that I owned that I hadn't read yet on August the 1st, and now that it is almost October, I wanted to watch that video back and see what I thought about those different books, share my thoughts and feelings and reactions with you all. So I'm going to try to put in a cool like picture-in-picture kind of thing, a la Books and Lala and Jean from Jean's Bookish Thoughts. I think Doris from Aldi Book has done something like this before, so I'm a little nervous about the editing part, but I am up for the challenge. So let's watch with me. I'm about to press play. I also think it's fun to note that in this video my hair is also in a puff and I am not filming with the best lighting, and here we are today, hair in a puff, bad lighting, consistency. All right, let's watch, shall we? As of today, August 1st, I have 14 unread books, so I'm going to share what is left of my TBR. Here we go. The first book that I have is Native Son. This is by I definitely tried reading Native Son, but I could not get through it. So I ended up unhauling it and selling it to my local independent bookstore. So that one I DNF'd. The next book that I have is Song of Solomon. This is by... So I finished Song of Solomon either at the beginning or the middle of this month. It's funny, I was trying to explain what the book was about to my roommate, and it's really difficult to describe it because there are so many things happening. The book has, in my eyes, the book has to do with Milkman, who was given this nickname because of something that happened with his mother when he was younger. And he is just living his own life and grappling with who he is as a person, where his place is in the world. And in addition to that, you witness the effects of generational trauma and generational patterns with his family. You also can see what's going on in the world around him. So it mentions different events in the civil rights movement. It mentions the killings of unarmed Black people. It's just really good. The symbolism is amazing. The way that Toni Morrison wrote is unlike anything I've ever read. And it's just about finding yourself and your identity and, you know, the pressures that people of color face. There is one character who, at a point, she is in some type of relationship with Milkman, and she has this moment where she talks about how she doesn't think she's pretty enough because she's not light enough because her hair is too kinky. And I think that's really important because those topics that I mentioned are still very much alive and well in the African American community, and I can imagine for other communities of color as well. So all of that to say, I read it, check. The next book that I have, which I am actually currently reading, is Asada, an autobiography. Yep, so I was able to read Asada, an autobiography. Oof. Yeah, I mentioned this in a wrap up. If I start talking about it, I'm going to keep talking about it forever. I read the book, I enjoyed it, I learned so much, and I think I just really take for granted, and sometimes I just forget about all the amazing women who were and still are a part of the movement. And just knowing that in addition to all of the things that she had to endure, she did all of this as a woman. So that just adds a whole other slew of difficulties and hurdles to overcome. And I am so thankful that I was able to read her story. So yes, that was another one that I read. The next one that I have is Half of the Yellow Sun. This is by Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie. So I did not get to this book I think at this point in time, I'm just not feeling it. I decided to let the physical one go. So yes, did not read it, but that's okay. The next book that I have is Bridge of Clay. This is by Marcus Zuzak, or yes, read it, loved it. Please read it. Marcus Zuzak, you are a national treasure. That's all I'm gonna say. Yes, I read it. It was beautiful. Loved it. Okay. After that, I have Autumn. This is by Ali Smith. Yep, so I was able to read Autumn by Ali Smith. I buddy read this with Margarita. This is a book that is character driven, so I can see the possibility of someone reading it and not thinking that anything happens, but to me, loved it. It was great. Next, I have Emma. This is by Jane Austen. I also read this book. I really enjoyed it. I mentioned this in a wrap-up. Yeah, this definitely is my second favorite Jane Austen book, so loved it. Alright, the next one that I have is The Body Keeps the Score. This is by Bessel van der Kolk. Yes, read it, loved it. I spoke very long about how much the book connected with me, how much I feel like our society needs to be aware of trauma and the effects of trauma and how we can treat trauma. So yes, I read it, loved it, enjoyed it, beautiful. The next one that I have, I'll actually talk about both of them, and those two books are A Gathering of Shadows and A Conjuring of Light. Yes, so I was able to read both of those books thanks to some amazing audiobooks. Enough said, also talked about this in my wrap-up, so I can just link that. But yes, I read those two books. The next one that I have is Red Clocks. This is by Lenny Zuman. That was another book that I was able to read, really enjoyed it. Again, it's so strange how a dystopian can be so realistic. This book does a great job of showing where our society could go while still creating these characters that you are rooting for and caring about. So yes, read it. The next one that I have is The Fifth Season. I believe, yes, check, read that one as well. I really want to get into the rest of the trilogy. It left me on somewhat of a cliffhanger, but it wasn't like a oh my gosh, it was just like a what's gonna happen next. I'm so excited. I think I was worried that I wasn't going to understand or be able to keep up with a lot of the words and the world building, all that stuff, but no, it was fine. I think N.K. Jemisin does a good job of letting you know what you need to know to be able to understand without it being so info dumpy or like elementary. So yes, check. The next book that I have on my TBR is Crooked Kingdom by Leigh Bardugo. Yes. Read Crooked Kingdom, loved it so much. I still think about it, and I'm trying to figure out when I can reread the books again. The last book that I have is Washington Black. This book is fiction. So I DNF'd this book. I was reading along and I was listening to the audiobook, and for some reason I just was not really able to connect to the story. Maybe in the future there will be a time that I go back and I read the whole thing. I just don't know if I am in the mindset to read that. Yeah, so those were the 14 books that were on my TBR at that moment. I think I unhauled 3 of them, so I read math. I read 11 out of the 14 books. I noticed that I think 1 or 2 friends, I will call any YouTube person that comments one of my friends, but I had 1 or 2 YouTube friends ask how I was able to reduce my TBR, and honestly, something that really helped me was being able to unhaul books and really ask myself, is this something that I really and truly want to read? I was able to distinguish the books that I needed to get to over the summer and books that you know, that can get to it later. There's nothing wrong with decluttering your life and unhauling and releasing books into the universe so that other people can read them instead. That was my TBR revisit. It was kind of fun watching back and being reminded of how much I liked a book or didn't like a book when I saw it pop up on the screen. I hope that you all are doing very, very well, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!